Imagine performing at the highest level week in and week out, and in return, getting a weekly wage that doesn't add up. For some of these guys, it's reality, and these are the 12 players in the game right now who need an urgent pay rise. First up is the Swedish machine that cannot stop breaking goal-scoring records. Viktor Gyökeres is a beast in front of goal. He's got 70, yes 70 goal contributions for club and country this season. 6 hat-tricks already this term. Safe to say he's already one of the best strikers in the world. If you had a look at his weekly wage, you wouldn't exactly think so. 46k per week. On one hand, he's the second highest paid player in the sporting team, but on the other hand, it's easy to see why a lot of top teams will be interested in Gyökeres now. With the goals he's got, he deserves more than double that wage deal. There are rumours about a potential move to Arsenal too, and if he does move, they'll be offering Gyökeres better wages in the same way they have to for one of the club's rising stars. Miles Lewis-Skelly has been a revelation for Arsenal this season. Playing big games as a teenager is one thing, but playing them with the level and composure Lewis-Skelly shows, that's another. He put in an unfazed performance at the Bernabeu, goal versus Manchester City in a 5-1 win, making the England senior team at 18 insane, but he'd done even better and scored on his debut versus Albania. All of this, and he comes back to a weekly payday of 4k. That is incredibly low. Then again, you get the feeling it's only a matter of time before the club decides to bump his wages, and when they do, it won't just be Lewis-Skelly. They'll surely have to be bumping the other kid sensation right now before him. Ethan Nwaneri is a future talent, there's no doubt. He only just turned 18 in March, and yet he already had 2 Champions League goals before that period, and has 5 goal contributions in the Premier League this season, including that stunner against Manchester City. 3 goals in the Carabao Cup for the Arsenal senior team, a star at youth level, but just like Lewis-Skelly, the check he comes home to on payday doesn't add up. 6k a week? Nah. With Nwaneri and Lewis-Skelly, you could argue that these are young talents who need to justify a pay rise from the club, but over at Liverpool, there's an established regular who's seriously getting underpaid. Weaver Kelleher holds the slightly unwanted tag of being the best backup goalie in the world. He's been at Liverpool since his academy days, and his rise to the ranks went from making crucial stops to scoring a pen himself in the Carabao Cup final win in the same year months earlier. He's still at Liverpool and has already produced big moments this season, saving that Kylian Mbappe penalty at Anfield and clean sheets against the likes of Real Madrid and Manchester City, deputising for the injured Alisson. We're talking a career path with Liverpool's senior team that's well over 6 years now, and you wouldn't believe what he gets paid weekly. 10k. I mean, that's sad. It feels like it's a Liverpool thing to underpay talent, because just like they did with Kelleher, they're doing the same with another underrated player as well, Connor Bradley. When he burst onto the scene at Liverpool, he was Trent's backup, but in the space of a year, he's shown that he can hold his own. Solid both offensively and defensively, nerves of steel in big games. That tackle on Kylian Mbappe in the Champions League still lives rent-free in the heads of many, but imagine being a part of that Liverpool team that's been challenging for trophies for 2 seasons now and coming home to a paycheck of 10k per week. That's the same as Kelleher. When, and probably not if anymore, Trent Alexander-Arnold leaves for Real Madrid, Connor Bradley is the guy everyone expects to step up as Liverpool's main right back. But on 10k a week, that isn't a fair reflection of how good he is. You could make the argument that he's backup and not a starter, but still, I've seen a couple of first-team players who deserve a pay rise in the league as well, like Bournemouth's big attacking threat, Antoine Semenyo. Now here's the thing, on 50k a week, it seems like Semenyo's on a pretty decent deal, but for a guy who is the team's 3rd highest goal scorer in the league this season, and what he offers to the team, some of the goals he's scored this season have been bangers, and with the likes of Manchester United and Spurs chasing him, 50k a week doesn't exactly represent the importance of a player Bournemouth has slapped a £70 million transfer tag on. But it's not just in the Premier League alone, some underrated names are getting underpaid. Over in Spain, you won't believe how much this important part of of Barcelona's success this season takes home every week. This season, Marc Casado has been sensational. You could talk about the importance of Barcelona's attacking force or the magic of Pedri, but the real ones know the ball-winning abilities of Casado have been a key part of Barcelona's attempt to challenge for the treble. Now, I say this because it doesn't feel like there's any real one in the Barca board that watches Casado, because how can he be that good and yet earn an amount you'd find hard to believe? 10k a week. For context, Ansu Fati earns 268k a week of Barcelona. Pedri's on 240k, Gavi on 180k. You probably get the idea by now. Marc Casado is seriously underpaid and Barcelona needs to fix up. He's not the only one too in the same team. There's another incredible young talent on low wages as well. Alejandro Balde. In the past 2 seasons, Balde has made Barcelona's left-back slot his own. Solid performances, bumping up that wing with crosses into the forward line, and getting goal contributions of his own as well. This season, he's been involved in 43 appearances for Barcelona and dropped 11 goal contributions. Solid numbers, but from a financial perspective, it doesn't add up. Balde takes home 32k of Barcelona every week. It sounds good, but when you consider the names we mentioned earlier, the likes of Pedri and Gavi, and what they earn, it's far from an equal representation of the important players in that team. But even Balde and Casado don't have it as bad as the next guy. His sounds almost impossible to believe. Giuliano Simeone. If you guessed it, the surname that is, you're correct. Giuliano is Diego Simeone's second son, one of the revelations of the season with Atletico Madrid, and now you'd think with his dad being the coach of the club, he'd probably be on some proper wage bill. Yeah, you'd be wrong. 9k a week, despite the crazy work he puts in games and the performances every week. Playing under his dad, he is one of the least paid players on the team. That isn't helping. Can't lie, this one is sad. Seeing Simeone bumping down that right wing almost every week for Atleti reminds me of a speed demon at Nottingham Forest who plays his heart out every week, but doesn't quite get the compensation to match. Anthony Elanga. Off the back of leaving Manchester United, he's been on a tear with Nottingham Forest. That goal versus Manchester United a couple of weeks back at a crazy top speed of 37 kilometers per hour was frighteningly quick. 15 goal contributions in 36 league games for Forest this season also means he's been one of the team's top performers. But honestly, on the wage bill, you get the feeling Elanga is underappreciated. 25k a week. He's not even in the top 10 earners at the club, or top 20. Elanga needs a pay rise, especially after his performances in recent weeks. Yes, the same applies to Manchester City's latest academy star, Nico O'Reilly. In recent weeks, he's been playing a starring role for Manchester City. 2 goals in 6 league games, 3 goals and 2 assists in 4 FA Cup games for a guy who's only just broke into the team recently. That's more than expected, but the wage bill doesn't quite reflect that. He's on a reported 4.8k per week. It's surely only a matter of time before Nico gets better wages at Manchester City, unless of course he decides to follow this underpaid superstar over to Italy and bag a move away from his current team. Ademola Lookman, Atalanta's wing wizard, the current African Best Player of the Year award holder, a hat-trick in the previous Europa League final, 18 goals and 7 assists in 35 matches for Atalanta this season, key goals at both club and country level, undoubtedly one of the best players in Serie A. All of this, and Lookman's wages at Atalanta come in at 44k weekly. It would have been decent, but Lookman's achievements in the past year and his matches for the club demand better pay. It's that simple. Remember to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to the channel. Also, be sure to turn on post notifications so that you never miss out on any new videos. We'll see you next time. Bye.